Greetings and salutations, War Machine and Hordes fans. It's been a little while since I received my mystery boxes from Privateer Press, and I thought I would do a follow-up video and do something kind of interesting to bring to light what came in the box. I did a video for that already. I revealed what was in the mystery box. I ended up ordering 2 of them, and I got Retribution from War Machine and Minions for Hordes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take the contents from the Retribution mystery box and see if I can build out an army. And as I was thinking about how to go about doing this, I thought the best way to go about this was to try to encourage an expert to get involved with my hobby and for me to figure out what the heck I'm doing in this new hobby. I've played War Machine and Hordes before, very limited. I collected a lot of miniatures, played a little bit here or there, kind of got out of the hobby. Felt like for the time that I was trying to put into it, I wasn't learning a lot about the game the mechanics, and all the combinations and everything that were in the game. It was almost too much to absorb at the time. But a lot of them, the rules themselves, I really enjoy. I love the damage system. I love the attack system. I think it's a very, very clean set of rules. So I always want to give War Machine and Hordes a shot. And I thought, what better way with these mystery boxes than to get kind of jump back in, pull out some of my old stuff that I've had sitting around. But I'm going to start with Retribution. So as I was poking around on the internet and YouTube, trying to find some content creators that love War Machine and Hordes, are passionate about it, and I thought I would do a shout out to one in particular. MrMalorian. He has touted himself as having the worst War Machine and Hordes YouTube channel on the planet, and I will 100% support that. Although I think he's great, good material, good delivery. So what I thought I would do is do a shout out to him and invite him to help me build a Retribution list that is not only fun to play, involves the contents of the mystery box, and helps me add on items, whether it's solos, units, new warjacks, or constructs in this case, to build my army up to, let's just say, for the sake of arguing, 75 points, or whatever the current meta is. I'm not sure what the current tournament level is. Maybe it's 100. I don't know. But that's why I'm asking him to help me get me up to speed, right? And it could be a response video, which I think would be fun for him to do. But either way, I'm inviting him and basically challenging him to turn me into a good War Machine and Hordes player. And I think the Retribution is a good place to start. I do own several forces. I have Protectorate, I have Kador, I have Signar, I have Grimkin, Minions, Scorn, and I think that might be it. Oh, Convergys. So I got a little mix of everything. And what I want to start with Retribution. I just think they're a cool looking army. So without further ado, let's talk about what exactly I have. So he has all the information in front of him, and he can help me turn this army into a fun, competitive list that is relatively easy to play, because obviously I'm still learning the rules. There's really nobody in my area right now that plays War Machine or Hordes that I know of, so hopefully maybe I can find a group. So a shout out there for anybody that lives in the Atlanta area. I live west of Atlanta. So if you play War Machine or Hordes and interested in getting in a game, yeah, well, make a comment down below. Reach out to me. I'm also contactable through my various social media outlets. Just look up Watchful Studio, and you'll find ways to reach out to me. So hopefully I hear from you guys soon. So so in the mystery box, what I ended up getting was what was it? Two light warjacks, or constructs, whatever you want to call them in this case. I got a Chimera, and I believe it was a Gorgon. So it was a Chimera and a Gorgon. And then I also got some boxes of infantry. I got Household Halberdiers, House Guard Riflemen, and the Rysavas Defenders. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. MrMalorian can correct me if I'm wrong, but so those are the units that I ended up getting. I didn't get a commander of any sort, no solos, so that's where I'm short some area. Obviously, things like the halberdiers and the riflemen, there's attachments that I could end up purchasing and upgrade them to have those attachments. But I did go out and find the battle group. So the starter box that comes for Retribution, which gives you Magister Helena, and it also gives you 2 light warjacks and a heavy, and I believe it's a Chimera and a Griffin and a Manticore. The Manticore is the big one. So the first thing that I'm already seeing is that I have 4 light warjacks, which are probably too many, and I have a heavy jack. Magister Helena has 30 points available to her for her battle group. All the light warjacks that I have are 8 points a pop, so I could feasibly field all of those and leave the heavy at home. That would be at 32 points, so that'd be 2 points over, which would go into the army list. Or, I could take the heavy jack and a mix between the lights. The lights are kind of cool because they all offer different aspects to gaming. I think some of them fit better in with Helena's, or however you pronounce her name. Fits better in with some of her abilities. But again, MrMalorian is going to know a heck of a lot better than I'm going to. So I'm just speculating at this point. Just looking at some of the rules, the Chimeras, which I have 2 of, they have 2 punchy hand-to-hand combat, POW 12 attacks. Again, they're 8 points. The nice thing is they come with arc nodes, which, again, for new players, because I'm just learning this as well, arc nodes are an ability that allows your commander to cast spells through the warjack. So you can draw a line of sight as well as range from those respective warjacks, obviously as long as they remain within the command range of your commander. So that's pretty cool. I also like the other abilities of the Chimeras. They have Apparition, which allows them at the start of the control phase to move 2 inches, so they kind of blink, which is kind of a cool ability. So again, with that arc node, if you're out of line of sight and you don't want to move or whatever, you can just kind of blink 2 inches at the start of the control phase and get closer to that target, or whatever you want to do with it. They also have an additional +1 defense versus ranged and magic attacks for each point of focus that's on the warjack itself. So that's pretty cool. So it's kind of a good defensive warjack if you want to keep focus on it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's got a standard stat line for a warjack. I believe it's 20 boxes. You know, Matt and Rat's average. So they're not bad in that respect. The one thing that I will mention is for Retribution, their Warjacks, their constructs all have force fields. They have a field generator. So those will take hits before they'll actually start taking damage. And a lot of times, if they are if all their boxes are basically checked for their force fields, they lose a lot of these different abilities. So it's pretty important to keep these things, you know, up and running and active. So again, hopefully MrMalorian can correct anything that I'm saying, because I haven't done a lot of reading. It's just from what I remember of playing Retribution from, you know, probably one edition ago. So the next Light Warjack, the Griffin. This has a halberd-looking weapon, giving it a POW 13, so one higher POW in close combat. Has a shield, so gives it +2 defense. If you spend focus, it gets additional movement, and it gets bonuses to its charge rolls when it charges. So it's a pretty close combat-y Light Warjack. So again, it's, you know, it's good. It's decent. I'm not quite sure it fits in with like the theme of what she does, but again, if you need a Light Warjack that you can move pretty quickly and get in some decent attacks, I would think it's not too bad. The Gorgon, again, 8 points, POW 12 in close combat, but this one does have a ranged weapon, POW 12 ranged weapon. But it also has kind of this force field generator thing where if you're within melee range of this model, you can't advance. The only thing you can do is change your facing, which is kind of cool. And again, that's probably a nuance in the rules that you can take advantage of and you know, lock something down in order to kind of come in and you know, beat it up with other things. The kinetic grip is also pretty cool. That if it hits something, it gets a -2 to its speed. So again, you're affecting your enemy's movement. And that could be interesting. And there is some spells that I call them spells, but there's some abilities that Helena can cast that also affects movement. So some good combos there. And this also could be a good combo with the Mana Core, because the Mana Core has an ability, which we'll talk about in a moment, about being able to place a wall and affect how your enemy is going to maneuver. So there's some interesting little combinations there that I'm already starting to see just through my years of wargaming. You know, I can start piling on these combinations and how they work. Which brings us to the Mana Core. The Mana Core is the heavy jack. It's 14 points. It has a POW 15. It does have a ranged weapon as well, POW 12. It has a force generator, which gives it a +2 strength. So it's gonna hit pretty hard. And like I said before, the weapon has the ability to basically fire a wall and place a wall. And if you move through the wall, you take magic damage. So it's pretty cool in that regard. So those are the different Warjacks that I have. Now, talking about Magister Helena, she's got 30 points available to her for Warjacks, which you talked about earlier. She has a POW 11 ranged attack, POW 11 melee attack. If I'm counting it correctly, 16 boxes, so it's pretty average, I guess, for a commander. She has this ability called Conveyance, which any models within 5 inches of a person with Conveyance, which is her, they get +2 on magic attack rolls, which is pretty cool. And she also acts, I believe the term is an Arcanist, so something like that, where they're like mechanics, right? So they can fix Warjacks. Well, she has that ability. She can repair D3+3 damage points on a construct, which are basically all the light and heavy warjacks in a retribution force, as long as she's in base-to-base contact with it. And the other ability she has, which is pretty cool, is called Tuna, which if she's in base-to-base with a warjack, she can use this action, and all of the attacks, the normal attack and damage rolls for that particular warjack are boosted for the round, which is pretty cool. And she has a part of her shooting ability. She has a force grip, but she can push, rather than doing damage, she can push models 3 inches. Again, which is cool because you can manipulate where you want to put things on the tabletop, which in War Machine is pretty big, right? When you can manipulate where other people's models are, it can really start messing with people's strategy and game plans. Going over her spells, let me pull up her spells. She's got a fistful. She got 7 focus, which is good. I think that's pretty good for a commander. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different spells. Deceleration, which is on herself, and that is anybody within her control range, friendly faction models gain +2 arm against ranged and magic attack damage rolls. Lasts for 1 round. It's pretty good. Just, extra little defensive bonus. She's got Force Strike. On a critical hit, the model hit becomes knocked down. So that's kind of neat. It's just basically an attack, range 8, POW 12. Yeah, pretty cool. Can do some damage. Hand of Destruction. This is range 10. This is an upkeep, which this one seems pretty cool. You probably want to throw this down on the first turn and keep it up all game. Friendly models and the model's battle group gain an additional die and attack and damage rolls against target model unit. Discard the lowest die in each roll. So it's not necessarily like a boosted attack where you're just getting a die. But what's pretty cool about it is that you get that extra die and then you remove the lowest. So you're kind of hopefully maxing out your hit and damage rolls. Obliteration. This is basically another attack. It is range 10. Its area of effect is 5, so it's a template, which is kind of cool. POW 15. So that's pretty good. It's pretty impressive. And then the last one is Rhythm of War on herself. And it is upkeep. And warjacks in this battle group that are in control range can advance 3 inches after all friendly models have entered their activations on your turn. So again, an extra free 3-inch move for your warjacks and your battle group, as long as you're staying within control range, which is pretty much what you want to do with warjacks, right? So, so that's pretty cool because you can have additional movement, put your models where you want them to be. So it seems like a very maneuverable force. So that may be something I want to take in consideration. So looking at how those play with the infantry, the 3 particular units that came in the mystery box, they're not crazy with rules or anything along those lines. The Rysavas Defenders, I really enjoy the models. I think they're very well sculpted, and you can definitely tell that these were done much later than the original release of the Retribution. Their attention to detail is a lot crisper than the household and house guard stuff in comparison. It almost looks like 2 completely different forces, but they're very cool models. They have Weapons Master, so they get an extra die. They can also choose which track they're hitting on a warjack, which is, again, pretty useful, especially with having that additional die. Only POW 10, that's pretty average for kind of human-esque type infantry. Their mat is pretty good, which is a 7, so that's pretty solid. And again, they come with 9 guys in a leader. So throw those in the force. They're pretty cool. The house, let's see where those guys are at here. I got the cards here. So the riflemen, they have that combined attack ability, so you can, add pluses to your hit rolls. They're POW 10, so they have a ranged weapon. So they can do some damage as a unit. I mean, I'm not, I wouldn't rely on them to light up the world or anything, but they'll absorb some hits. They can take some objectives. They're a rat of 5, which isn't horrible. Their defense and arm is 13 each, so I mean they'll go down pretty quick. But yeah, so maybe buying the unit attachment for them. I don't know what those do. I haven't looked it up, but maybe they're worth taking. I'm not 100% sure. The thing that's pretty cool about them is they have the practice maneuvers, which they ignore line of sight through their own miniatures, and they through their own unit, and they can pretty much like ignore each other through movement and stuff. So it just makes them a little bit more flexible. The House Guard Halberdiers, basically the same thing. They have those maneuvers as well. The Halberd gives them a POW 10 in close combat. Again, they have the combined attack for melee. Unit of 10 of them, so 9 in a leader. The cool thing about them is they have a set defense, which gives them, someone attacks them from the front, there's minuses to rolls, to hit, and to charges and things of that nature because of their kind of defensive wall they're setting up with their shields. And then they have an order which is called shield wall, which gives them +4 to their arm if they set that up. I believe they have to be in base contact with each other, but I mean that's good. +4 arm puts them at an 18. So that's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, they get hit by a heavy warjack or something, it's not going to really matter. But against other infantry, other shooting, it's pretty good. So that's pretty much it for the force. So I'm not sure where to take it from here. I know there's a lot of solos. I know the meta of the game has changed quite a bit over time. So. And I know that you can really tailor Retribution forces to go, basically commander hunting, right? That's their whole kind of lot in life from what I understood with the Force. So do I go that direction? Do I focus more on the maneuverability of me being able to maneuver and kind of harass my enemy from maneuvering? The one thing we didn't talk about, which I'll pull up here real quick, is the Magister's feat, which is, when I read it, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And I mean, to be fair, any feat in the game is going to be pretty awesome. You can only do it once per game. So what she does is it removes all the damage points from the force fields of friendly faction warjacks in her control range, which is that's pretty cool, just to start with. So while they're in her control range, friendly faction models get +3 arm. Again, pretty cool. You add that to the shield wall. That's +7. It makes them pretty tough for a round. And they don't suffer any effects from crippling systems. So that's for the warjacks. So I guess that's +3 arm. It does say friendly faction models. So I'm assuming if they're within the control range, they would get that. And then, of course, warjacks, if they're suffering any crippled systems, they wouldn't for this round. So again, it lasts for the one round. So that's pretty neat. I mean, if you have some warjacks that are getting ready to go down kind of late game, and they're really hurting, and they're on their last leg, you can kind of ratchet them up, have them ignore all those crippled systems, and kind of get one last hurrah in before they go down. You could do this early game and just take advantage of some of the hits and some of the force fields that have points on them. Get all those off, and make kind of a valiant attack. I mean, again, I'm just speculating. I haven't played in a long time, so I'm just kind of talking to talk at the moment. So at this point, I want to see if Mr. is going to chime in and have some comments and kind of give me some direction on where to go. I've been working on putting this army together. I mean, I could show progress pictures, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're assembled and they're primed white. I mean, you want to see what the models look like, you could always go on the website and see painted ones. It's going to look a lot more exciting than where my force is currently sitting at. So, but I'll definitely do some painting videos and things of that nature when I get to that point, because with white, it can be very, very tricky. And I know a lot of people are very apprehensive about painting white. I am as well, but I really like the look of the studio army, the Privateers studio army, with that white and kind of the blue, the blue accents that kind of swirl through the armor to kind of look like it's energized. I just like that look. I've tried painting War Machine stuff in the past, kind of my own color scheme, and I tried doing Kador in kind of a green, and I Protectorate. I've tried doing in a couple different colors, but really at the end of the day, when I look at the studio armies and the color palettes that they've chosen, I think those are the best. So, moving forward, when I start painting these forces and hopefully doing more articles on this, and I'd like to eventually do some battle reports, I'm probably going to just stick to the studio look, because I just think it looks appealing and it's nice. So I guess there's going to be a lot of white in my future between Protectorate and Retribution. So might as well become an expert at it. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. I hope Mr. Malorian responds and keeps kind of a banter going back and forth, because if he responds to this, maybe I'll challenge him to some other things as I kind of navigate through this gaming system. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. But I really am trying to make this kind of a social experiment of us kind of bantering back and forth, and maybe if things go well and he responds, maybe we do like a Discord thing, or we do a live stream of him and I kind of chit-chatting back and forth about stuff, or let me know what you think, because I really kind of want to use this channel to as a diary of my hobby experience, for not only my Watchful Eye studio miniatures. If you didn't know, I own a miniatures company, but also my hobby in general. And right now, one of the things I'm interested in is building out my War Machine forces and playing some games. So hopefully you like the content, and we'll chat with you soon. And Mr. Malorian, don't be shy. Maybe we can get you from the worst War Machine and Hordes channel on YouTube to the second worst, and I'll be the worst. Who knows? Maybe I can take your title from you. So hopefully we'll chat with you soon, and everybody, have a good night.